Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Have to bear with us this morning. We had everybody on here and stuff wasn't working. And so everybody's out trying to reboot their phone and stuff. So, Dennis is back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Testing.
Yeah.
1, 2.
We can hear you. Shut up.
Where's Dave?
He's not back yet. Yeah.
He rebooted his phone and disappeared. And now he's.
Yeah. Well, he'll get here, I'm sure. But
Well,
in the
I
meantime,
lost all sound. I was yelling at you guys, and
Don't
you were completely
yell.
ignoring me. So
yeah, we heard. We heard.
nothing new about that. So, Steve, why don't you go down chat for us?
It is really, really fast, guys. Slow down. We got Stephen Wigwag. Good morning. Thomas Moore, John Taylor, Spilker River Valley, John, Dwight Curley, Rob T-Man, Mark Pruitt. Good morning, Mark. Let's see. We got Tammy. Good morning. And Ray, good morning. Roy Hardwick, Gerald Stewart. My buddy Bernard, John Dawson. Good morning. We got Uncle Wilmer. And Wilmer. JD. Good morning, JD. And Ben at Eagle Creek Railroad. I know there's more in there, but anyway, good morning, guys.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a good week. Bill's not with us this morning. His mom passed away this week, and he's on the way back from Iowa. So keep him in your thoughts, and I'm sure he'll probably be back next week, unless he's traveling to Europe again. But anyway. We got the four of us. If Dave doesn't make it back, we'll act like he did or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
we'll do what we always do. Wing it.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll get back.
We got Allison. Good morning, Allie. She popped in. And we got Digger. Good morning, Digger. Anyway, okay.
I see Mark is here. Mark popped in.
Yep, Mark Pruitt's in there.
Yeah, Mark Pruitt's here. Good to see everybody. So what do you guys want to talk about?
Well,
Dave's not here.
Well, we were going to talk about trains with Dave, but now I don't know.
Why can't we talk about trains with you?
Did you have some specific questions that you were going to ask him, Steve? Because
no,
you'd probably have questions that I couldn't even conceive of because I've never been in the profession.
No, I was wanted to hear more about the division that he worked and, his years on the railroad, what story he had. But
yeah. Well, is this like what you were talking about earlier, this versus this?
Going to
I found that a little bit fascinating.
Well, we were talking about how this show got started and years back, and how Trackside Beans, we used to do the Trackside Beans, and I came up with the name because Beans was going to your lunch break with the railroad, and there was hand signals, and two thumbs like that was going to Beans.
So let's what other things were there that you dudes did?
You had the coffee break was one.
Yeah,
that's going to the barn. That that was getting the tie up.
The barn. What's the barn?
Just putting the engine away. If you're on a switch engine, end of the shift, if the yard conductor would, they went by field man, and if you saw that, it was like, oh yeah, you're going home.
What was the hand signal for that?
We had a major earthquake. No, no, my phone is balanced here.
What was the hand signal for that move?
Yeah,
that's.
Well, Dave just texted and said he's having trouble getting back on, so I resent him the link. We'll see if he can get here.
Was that the man down?
That's man
falling and I can't get up.
Man down.
Well, see, you used to that now everybody uses the pack set radios, nobody knows hand signals anymore. And Jerry probably can attest to that from what you know, all the videos that you see of railroad. They've all got, you know, carrying radios, and they're on the steps of the engine. The engineer can see them, and they're talking to them on the radio. You know,
You guys didn't have radios back then?
We did, but just the yard foreman. I'm speaking of working in a switch engine in the yard on the radios. But
so it was all just hand signals, just
all signals. Yeah. And the yard foreman had a radio, but that was to talk to the yard master. And so you went all completely by hand signals. And it was nice because you could disappear, go out and do your work. Nobody knew where you were. Now everybody's talking on the radio, so you know you can't hide.
What was the last year that you worked?
93.
93.
And that's
and you started when?
In 77. And actually, that's how I got hurt. Was that transition time between hand signals and radios, because we were pretty much all hand signals, but the new guys that were hiring on wanted to use radios all the time. And we had some ding dong that hired on, Leonard Cotton, I think was his name, but we were making a switching move where we were working on hand signals, and he was talking on the radio, and I'm looking at, it's a long story how I got hurt, but I'm looking out the window going backwards, looking for hand signals for my conductor. And this guy had lined us in a track that had cars, and bam, boom, you know, my back was jacked up. But that was what really caught was the radios, because you got to use one or the other, but you know, not both. And I gotta forget the cough. I have a cough that I can get rid of.
Bernard wanted to know if you had a special hand signal for that one guy you didn't like.
No, yeah, it was it. That's a big.
So back then, when you were doing yard jobs and switching stuff, did you have? So it was you and a conductor, or you conductor, a brakeman?
You had the yard used to have a yard foreman, a field man, and what was called a pin puller, and it went in seniority that way. And the yard foreman was the one who was really in contact with the yard master, and you worked off a switch list that was these. It was a hard copy that he would get, and then two other really flimsy paper copies that the pin puller and field man would get. And it was really bad when it was raining because they didn't like water. So a lot of times you're walking around with a soggy switch list trying to read numbers off of cars. And that was, but yeah, and then they went down, they cut yard jobs down to 2-man crews, and now they got remote control equipment and probably one guy.
Yeah.
Well,
I know everything's on your phone that you can. Your switch list is probably on your phone. You can scroll through and everything else.
Yeah.
Well, I know when I go up to Colorado, New Mexico, and ride the narrow gauge up there on both lines. Yeah. I don't remember seeing a radio on them. They probably have some for emergency use, but they use hand signals when they're hooking up and everything. Yeah. They're all the time using hand signals.
That's a lost art. They don't, you know, they don't. Yeah. And a lot of them, you know, you talk to railroaders now about hand signals, and they're like, what are you talking about? But you could work a whole 12-hour shift and never talk to anybody because it's all hand signals.
Yeah. Well, because even the conductor, he'll make sure everybody's on board, you know, and then, you know, of course, they're already hooked up, but then everybody loads into the passenger cars, and he'll wave at the engineer, and then he'll step up on the platform as it starts moving.
Yeah, I mean,
And away we go, you know.
you have stop signs, you know, ahead, back up. You had night signals, day signals. You know,
Yeah.
kicking cars, line, you know, line tracks. So, like, if you were, say the, I'm trying to think of a good one. If the conductor wanted you to line 10 track and cut off 3 cars from the head end, you know, that on hand signals, line the track would be a circle, line track. What was it? 3 from the head end, or okay, you could cut off. This is cut off. Let's see, 3 from the head. This was the head end, lining a track. I'm trying to remember the numbers. I know this was 10, 9, 8. 8 was like this.
You mean like you drew the letter 8 in your arms? Is that what?
Yeah,
you're
it was
doing?
like that.
I
Was
can't
it
see all
9,
of you.
10? I'm trying to remember what one was.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
What
yeah,
was, what was the tail end?
what's that?
The tail end. Like if this is the head end, what was the signal for the tail end?
Oh, tucking your butt.
Okay, makes sense.
You know,
Yeah, Bernard says on the oil rigs, that's how everybody communicated because there was too much noise.
yeah, it's too loud.
Yeah.
But you had signals nighttime and daytime. You know, a kick. You know, if you're going to kick a car, I mean, now I don't even know if they still kick cars because everything has to be done with nobody riding moving equipment. You know, equipment has to be standing still before they can get on and off. And, you know, a kick sign is just and you know, you take your list and shake it, and the engineer would put the engine in run 8. Pin puller would pull the pin on the car. He'd give a stop signal, and everybody stopped. And if you wanted the engine to come ahead, you would give them a big "come to me," and if you wanted them to back up, it's "go away from me." And at nighttime, a circle is back up, and up and down is go ahead. And
shooing them away.
yeah, and that it was always fun.
Anthony says he saw BNSF kicking cars in the Denver yard back in May.
Yeah, some places still kick cars.
Yeah, I just know you.
Now, does kicking cars mean something that takes place while equipment is moving?
Yeah, that's a switching move. Yeah, as opposed to shoving a car into a track, cutting it off, and backing up, going the other way. You would have a cut of cars, and geez, sometimes in Stockton, we'd have a 75 car cut that we were switching. And that, you know, a lot of time, well, if you've got it that far, you're using a radio. But there were a lot of times where you're leaning out the window, looking down probably 40, 50 cars for this little bitty guy, you know, and he's got a, you know, he'll try to get something as big as he can to give you a signal, but geez.
Somebody kick Steve.
Man down.
Well, Allie says, I know some wagons still say not to be loose shunted, meaning no kicking.
We don't shunt.
Well, they do in Australia and Great Britain. They shunt. They don't switch.
Well, they call them wagons too. And
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everything was done with hand signals, but that was really tough on an engineer to be looking down that far. And if you got a conductor, I mean, a yard foreman or somebody that liked the engineer, they might use the radio and, you know, make it easier on you. But if they didn't like you, they're going to make it as hard on you as they can. And they're out there switching cars, so they're bullshitting and talking and whatnot. The engineer's just sitting, leaning out the window, waiting for a signal, and it could be 20 minutes before they decide to give you a little move. And if you missed it, they got so pissed. So
Bernard says, "What's in your coffee, Steve?"
there's nothing. Yeah,
That's Bernard. I think that's the problem. He didn't have anything in his coffee. He needs something.
He drank it all already.
Yeah.
I keep kicking this thing. I need to come up with a better stand.
Bernard or Roy said up in the UP North Yard back in May at the YouTube meet and greet, they were kicking cars and riding cars.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the way they used to.
Now, I happened to be at Albuquerque. Was it last weekend? Yeah, I think it was last weekend.
Yeah, last
and I drove through and drove around the Santa Fe engine facilities there. Huge facilities. Is that anything that you may have encountered in your career? They looked old enough that I'm just guessing that they would have shut down in the early 80s. I don't know.
Oh, it was shut down? It was shut
in
down.
Albuquerque.
It's huge facilities. That they've got a transversing table.
Mm-hmm.
A transverser. I don't know how many bays they had in the engine shops, but
what's there now?
Huge stuff.
Is
it's all dilapidated now. All the windows are broken.
Pictures?
Clearly not in use.
Did you take pictures?
I did. Yeah.
Sure.
Was that say Santa Fe place? Well, it's like the one in Galveston. Now their facility down there doesn't look like it's really an engine facility at all. It looks like they're using those tracks strictly to store the old engines on. Mm-hmm. And they're lined up, all the way down on several tracks wide. And it's, God, there's got to be, 200-300 engines there at least.
Dennis,
there's still a yard there that appears to be in use, but the engine facilities, all there is now is a museum in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Did you go in?
I went to the museum. It's pretty cool.
Most railroads have, and I know the BNSF has done it, but most of the railroads now are shutting down a lot of their smaller yards. They don't exist anymore. The Richmond yard that I hired out in the Bay Area is basically a storage facility now. And that was the big yard for the Santa Fe in the Bay Area. And,
would you say the container, the growth of the containers?
Yeah, because all the container we used to they had container ramps there, and for the piggybacks and the double stacks, but a lot of the stuff came out of the Port of Oakland, so they basically moved all the container business down to Oakland, and that took a lot of the business out of Richmond because there's only so many tank facilities out there to facilitate a yard. But if you looked at the history of the Richmond yard for the Santa Fe, it was massive back in the day, and now it's a ghost town. And
when we drove out,
that's what this was, a ghost town. But the facilities were huge.
Well, they're still not there. But I know when we drove out west last year and we were going through New Mexico, Arizona, out that way, we saw container train after container train. I didn't see one freight train at all. What you would say, what we model as freight trains, because most of us don't do containers.
Pretty much all I ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah. They call
none of those. No gondolas, no, BoxCars, no flat cars. It was all containers.
Yeah, everything's now, and
so that's why they're cutting out all the small yards. They don't need them.
Yeah, no, that's what's made rail fanning, in my opinion, boring as heck. I mean, everything looks the same.
Yeah.
I agree.
I can't stand containers.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not, for some reason, now see, he's connected, but he's not. His video and feed's not coming through.
And that's
Well,
weird.
Dave, if we don't get you on today, we'll get you on maybe next week or sometime soon. But,
We
and we'll
had
have to
him
work out the
before the
problem
show
in
started.
between.
Should have never made him leave.
Uh-oh.
He just
Tried
popped
to come
up.
back on.
He
Yeah,
flapped.
if
That's
Yeah,
weird.
well,
Must be his internet or something.
yeah,
that could be. You know, it's funny because he didn't have any trouble last time. Although he did complain about, he thought his phone video was fuzzy when he was showing us his layout.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it, but
I didn't.
Did you?
No, I didn't notice anything.
No, I didn't notice anything like that at all. Because even after he told me after the fact, I went back and watched it. I didn't notice it, but so open up that flip phone, Dave.
I dislike container trains. How's that?
Well, yeah, they're boring.
They're boring. Yeah,
They're about
that's
as,
Railroad, they look the same.
there's
You know,
pretty much
they- Just
Oh,
the
no.
color.
well, the tennis.
Even the engines are all the same.
Yeah.
Oh, now we lost Dennis.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if when Dave's coming in, it's making where we can't hear Dennis because that happened last time.
Really?
Anyway,
That
Nice.
could be.
well, that's one reason I like going up to the narrow gauge because they're still running the coal-fired steam,
Mhm.
and it's like it used to be. You know, now most of them are passenger trains, but they still run a freight now and then. In fact, they almost always have a boxcar right behind the engine
Yeah.
as a buffer car, but they also put the hikers, if they're hauling hikers up halfway up, they'll put all their stuff, backpacks and all that stuff into the boxcar and then take them up. And then when they get up halfway up, they drop them off and those guys go hike. And, you know, so they still have that, but they still have a lot of the old box cars and freight cars in the yards there.
I think that Container Man said box cars are all the same, all look the same. But no, like I don't know about out west and Midwest and all. But the box cars, like here, we could still have fallen flag box cars come through.
Mhm.
Wisconsin Central. I mean, the list is just Conrail. They're just endless. Like I still see Chessie box cars. I still, it's just like you never know what box cars you're going to see or hopper cars, but you know, containers and you know, other than you know,
Well, you go back to
and
you go back to the wooden, the era of the wooden box cars, and there was a lot of difference in them.
yeah,
From boxcar to boxcar, you had the outside braced and all that kind of stuff. And to me, they're more interesting because of that. But
but they're
you know, the modern boxcars, he's right. They're most of them are the same until you get to a high cube or an extra long one or you know something like that. But
They're all covered in graffiti too.
yeah, now they're all covered in graffiti. You didn't used to see that at all.
You
Yeah.
sound like Darth Vader.
that's
Luke, I am your father.
It is sounding kind of strange.
Yeah, it does.
Hang on here. Let me see if I can mess with you here.
Well, let's see. And Wilmer says he feels the same way about auto racks. Yeah, everything looks the same.
yeah. I don't like auto racks either.
Try it again, Dennis.
Luke, I am your father.
Oops, not that. Wrong one. Well, I'm messing with them here and see if it's not really doing anything.
Well, 30 years ago, the motive power was more forward. You know, there's so many different models of motive power from different manufacturers. Now it's basically GE. I mean, now EMD's having a hard time keeping up with the GE power, but yeah, they all look the same. And you know, what power you were going to. You could have Alcos, you could have GEs, you could have EMD, you could have all 5 EMDs on the head end, and every one of them are different. So now they all look the same. What happened to my phone? There we go.
Dennis does have a lightsaber.
I do have a lightsaber, yes. Is my wife in the
I
chat?
figured that was true.
Yes,
But
sure.
what
now
Bernard
you
said
sound
about,
normal.
go ahead, Jerry.
Now he sounds normal.
Am I
Well, yeah.
still Vaderish?
No, you're good.
No, you sound okay now.
No, what Bernard said about the last trip to Ely, they were kicking up no wooden cars. Love that railroad. It's the same as the day it was built. Some steam,
Where's
same
that?
steam, same yard is still there. So yeah, that's what I like about the narrow gauge, because they're still running the steam trains. And to me, a steam train is
Is
just
Ely in
way more
Arizona? Where is that at?
Yeah, northern Arizona.
Okay.
North.
I think I've seen a Toy Man episode on that. It's a place I'd like to go and visit. Is that where Dirt the Cat is?
Yeah.
Was?
He
Okay.
passed. Yeah. In fact, they did a deal on Toy Man's channel about the cat passing. But yeah, he goes up there. Him and his wife go up there all the time and see it. So that's when I usually get to see it.
Well, Dave says he got no connection for some reason. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Mark's fault. Oh, too good.
Well, you're going to have to come back next week then.
Yeah, what did you say, Dennis? Ely in what state? It's in Nevada.
Oh, Nevada. Okay.
Nevada. I didn't hear what you said. I was thinking Nevada, but I didn't hear what you said. So Dwayne was saying, no, it's in Nevada. Yeah, it's like north central, north, maybe a little east of right in the middle of the state, but up on the north, up on I think it's I-80. Roy can tell us for sure. I think it's I-80 that it's on. But anyway, yeah, the old steam trains to me just have a lot more personality. You know, all the diesels, for the most part, except the old Alcos, sound the same.
Yeah. You can say the same thing about cars as far as that goes. You look at the 1960s and 70s, there was more of a difference between one car and another, and now it's like they're all the same round body style, regardless of who they're made by.
They said he's going to try to come back next week, so we'll plan on that, Dave.
Absolutely.
It was good talking to you in the green room.
Yeah.
We never should have had you leave.
Most of the time that works. I mean, it's worked every time for me.
Yeah. Morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill. Sorry to hear about your mom.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah. But take care of yourself. We'll see you next week, maybe.
We're praying for you guys.
So,
excuse me.
Facility done?
Say again.
Say that again.
You said you got your coaling facility finished?
Well, I got the structure done. I still need to add the lights to it, but I didn't have the lights that I wanted to put in it, so I ordered those yesterday, and then it'll be here till 9th or 10th next month. So it'll be a couple of weeks before I get it completely finished. And I don't have the ramp built to it yet, but that's going to happen after I get the track plan settled, which I'm real close to right now. So I'm still messing with that. But yeah, I got the structure itself done, and it looks really good. Of course, those are great kits. And it was funny, I showed Brenda on eBay it was a fine scale modeler's kit. It wasn't the same kit that I bought, but it was the one junkyard or something like it. It's a pretty good sized kit, and I'm sure it's got a ton of metal detail parts in it. And I showed her that, and they were wanting $390 for the kit. Her eyes bugged out a little bit. I said, well, I paid like $40 for mine, so otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. Because I've seen it on eBay for $150, and I got it for $40, so I got real lucky.
It's a steal.
Yeah. When I found
can't get any fine scale miniatures kit for under $125.
Yeah.
Generally, the cheapest I see them go for.
But that's the first one I built, and I love their instructions on it. They're great. They're step by step, lots of pictures, and most of the wood's pre-cut.
Do they still make stuff?
I don't think they do, and I think that's another thing that's driving the cost up.
There's a company I think that may have bought the castings for them. I can't think of the name of the email address, or not the email, the website, but I think you can still buy all of the castings for like the brick and the actual white metal. I think you can still get all of those things, but you can't get the kit per se. That's George Celios's company, right? Isn't he the one that designed and made all of those? Or am I confused?
I don't know. I didn't look into it that far.
I think that's the Franklin in South Manchester. If you're not familiar with that model railroad, it's one of the greatest model railroads that's ever been built in the world, and that's George Celios's model railroad.
Okay.
So you can see a lot of those structures on that railroad because he produced kits, I think. So someone in chat might check me, but I'm pretty sure that's where Fine Scale Miniatures comes from, is George Celios.
But it is a good kit, and the stuff they put in it is all good. The only I was telling Dennis this before the show. The only drawback that I didn't like about the kit was their shingles for the roof. You have to cut those off. They've got them kind of cut, but then you got to cut them horizontally, and they don't give you a lot of room to do that. So they come out kind of funky. But for an old structure, it kind of adds to it, so it's not too bad.
They're like a scale HO 1 foot wide too, correct?
Yeah.
1 foot in length. You have to do tons of rows of them.
Oh yeah, it's like the Campbell's. Well, it's like the Campbell's. The Campbell's shingles that came in the Campbell's kits were much easier. They were pre-glued. All you had to do is moisten them and stick them on, cut them to length, and moisten them and stick them on, and they go on much easier. These I had to put the glue on. They're just paper, and then you stick it on there, and But they go on basically the same way. It's just a different attack on how they do it. But that was the only knock I had on the kit at all. It's a really nice kit. Oh, the only other thing was their nut and bolt castings. I sent a picture to you guys of that, and I don't know if I can pull that up here. Let me pull that up here right quick if I can find it.
What are these castings that you guys are talking about?
They're white metal castings that are the detail parts.
Yeah, I don't have any that. Well, yeah, I think I got something that would give an example.
Like I don't know, like what? Wheels and like stuff that's laying around the building.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, Jerry.
Here is a roller wheel. This is an extra that came with my turntable kit. This is a white metal casting, and in those fine scale miniature kits, they have barrels. Just all of the super detail stuff. Is this white metal casting stuff?
Okay, these are the nut and bolt castings. It's going to come up on there. Why is it not coming up on there?
Wow.
There it is.
No thanks.
Yeah, you see how small they are.
What do you do with them?
Glue them
Well,
on.
this is where on your wooden structures, like trestles and that sort of thing, and sand bunkers or coal bunkers, they would run a steel rod all the way through to hold the two sides pulled in together.
Right.
Okay, keep them from spreading. Or they would bolt their cross pieces on trestles and that sort of thing. They'd run a bolt through there. And these are the little castings on each one. I don't know if you can see I can't see it on there. I don't know if you can see my arrow or not.
That's 4 of them
right there. And you had to cut them off the sprue and it's also a white metal sprue, and to cut them off with a razor blade. And then I could only pick them up with this fine pair of tweezers. And yeah,
And
there's
hope they don't fly
flew
across the room.
Yeah,
So you would attach them where these parts would be.
would have been, yeah. And so what they do is they represent the nut and bolt and the washer, you know, on the end. And
So Claude,
they make a
your
great
Coleman
detail.
trestle's not on your desk right now?
No,
Yeah, that's a little
I don't have a good enough light in here. It wouldn't do it.
Hell, you could lose.
But yeah,
You could lose one of those in the palm of your hand.
yeah. And what I had to do, I put them on with CA, super glue. And so I just put a little bit on the desk, on this cutting mat. I put a little bit of CA on there, pick the nut up with the tweezers and try to keep from squeezing it too hard so it didn't shoot across the room. Barely touch it into the CA and then put it on the kit, put it on the model. But those were tough.
That's too much.
But they look really good. Now, you get nut and bolt castings now in plastic, and they usually have you drill a hole, and they've got a little leg on them, and you stick it in the hole. Those are a little easier to put on. They're still somewhat tedious, but they're a lot easier than doing it the other way. What happened to my? Oh,
Yeah.
But yeah, there were parts of it that were real tiny, and of course, all that stuff anymore with my big hands and getting arthritis in them and starting to shake some when I'm doing little tiny stuff. It was a challenge for sure. Well, Bernardo, what he wants to, I can see those. I sit pretty close to the bench and I don't have my glasses on when I'm doing them. Yeah, these are here. I've got a bunch of these too. These are what you get now. Plastic nut and bolt castings.
Yeah, you can actually handle these, and then you drill a fine hole through your wood, and a lot easier to handle than
the ones that I had on there. Those were not fun. But I did it because when you get finished with it, and you get them painted rust, it looks really good because it really brings out the detail in the model then.
if you're 6 inches away from the model.
Yeah, you can't see it like 2 feet away.
It's about how you feel about your model, not about.
Well, I don't feel that.
Actually, Jerry, where this is going to be sitting on the upper deck, it's going to be back toward the backdrop, but from that one end, it's going to be sitting back in the corner. So that one end, you will see them.
Yeah, anything really
the upper
close
deck's
to
going to be just below eye level. So,
yeah, but I would have to have my glasses on to see them.
Well, that may be, yeah.
But are you going to look for them is the question.
No.
Yeah.
Are you going to look for them?
I wouldn't. No, I mean, probably not.
Most people are going to see the whole model, and you can make that argument.
I mean, but
there will be people that like to pick out certain things, you know.
I think that happens when you've been to someplace many times. And I say that because, I go to Stroudsburg to this choo-choo barn, and it's a big layout. Been there many times. The first time going through, you're just going through, right? The second time, you're seeing stuff that you missed. The fifth time, you're seeing more stuff that you missed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's this overload of what's going on people's layouts for people that see them for the first time. That you just don't see all those details.
And Roy, you're right. You could consider that rivet counters and almost, almost directly, but I didn't do the backside of it. I did all the front ends, but I didn't do the backside because the backside's going to be facing the backdrop.
Yeah,
2 or 3 inches away, so there wasn't any reason to put them on the backside.
Yeah, save them for enough.
And again, if you have any aspirations at all of maybe ever having the cover shot of a magazine, that's another reason why you go to the extra detail, is so that when you photograph it closer than what someone might view it from in the aisle,
you see all that.
You've proven your work, so to speak.
Yeah. Is that
Well-
your goal, Dennis?
I mean, I guess I would be lying if I didn't say that I would like to be on the cover of a magazine. I think that is a lofty goal for any model railroader to be able to hang up a magazine on their wall in their layout room that is, on the cover of Model Railroad Craftsman. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I've said this
expect
before.
it'll happen by any means, but I would like to send in my stuff and say, here you go, world. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've said it for me personally. I've said it many times that I build my layout for me,
Yeah.
and so
That's
I'm
the first.
doing the level of detail that I want to see on it.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of places that don't have real fine detail
No.
and won't ever have, but the places that I want it, I'm putting it on there.
Right.
So I'm not doing mine for somebody else, but if somebody else likes it, and it won't be to say I won't take a picture of it, but I doubt I'll ever send one into a magazine. That's not my goal. First of all, I don't think I'm good enough to be on there, but then, that's not my aspiration.
You are. Your stuff looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good to see you, Fred. Fred Wild's here. Haven't seen you in a while, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying basically the same thing I'm saying. It's, you do it for you.
That's what has to come
It's your hobby.
Yeah.
And like I say, there's some places that I did that, and I thought about not putting those on. But once I got going and kind of got it planned out, it only took me about an hour to put them all on there, and I probably put on 100 of them.
Wow.
But I got to where, I knew how to cut them off that sprue with a razor blade, and I had to flip them over so they were facing up so I could get a hold of the nut with the tweezers, because if I did it the other way, they'd be upside down. And once you got CA on it and you get a little bit on your tweezers, now you're having a battle with that. And of course, then you instinctively, I'd raise up try to hold it with my finger and pull the tweezers away. Well, then when I pull my finger away, it's stuck on my finger. So, half the time you're having to throw that one away and do another one. But
do they give you extra?
Again, it's just what you want to do. Say again?
Do they give you extras?
Well, I didn't use any on the back half, but I probably have just under half of what I started with.
Yeah.
But I didn't, there again, I didn't do them on the backside, and there's a lot of rivets on those, the way it's built, and I'd have to show it to you before. Maybe I'll bring it on next week and show it next week, but there's a lot of reinforcement stuff in there where they would have had those rods going through to hold everything together. But anyway.
Bernard said he wanted to get his picture on the cover of Rolling Stones, but sadly it ended up on the post office wall.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that.
Yeah,
I have no doubt about that at all. Another reason we need to get Bernard on the show.
Hey,
Bernard, when are you going to come on the show, Bernard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a challenge.
Yeah. Will you triple
I hate that I missed John last weekend. John Kenzillo.
Yeah, John was with us again.
Watching that episode's on my list of things to do this week. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
That was a good show. We had 40 people in chat at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it took the whole hour to show his layout.
Did it?
He got a big layout, and especially being an N scale, it made it that much bigger.
Yeah.
Did he discuss his spline at all?
No.
I don't recall seeing the helix, but
Yes.
Yeah.
He talked about that.
so
Now,
I got to watch a little bit of the beginning of the show before we had to leave the house, but
yeah,
I can watch that one.
Yeah, because he said he did that all in spline.
Yeah, and it'd take a crane to lift it up.
yeah.
Oh, spline is what you did, right, Dennis?
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Okay. Yeah.
Going up my mountain.
Bernard says, as soon as he gets real internet. Okay. You mean we can't just hook up the can and string? That's what Steve's doing.
You don't have to use video. You could just
I
use audio.
Tinfoil.
Yeah.
Bernard, you could just use audio. You don't have to use video. We'll let you on.
Oh, this I like this.
Everything too is like a storyteller.
Mike says he doesn't aspire to be on a cover. His goal is to help others create.
That's a good goal.
There you go. And that's fabulous.
The way I look at it is I'm absolutely building to my standards, and I'm hoping that it will be worthy of that kind of thing.
And it will one day.
Well, see, and I don't think my layout's all that great. I mean, there's aspects of it that I really like.
Yeah.
But I have yet to have anybody, whether it's a visitor to the house or relative or the air conditioning guy, because he's got to come in there to get up in the attic to do the air conditioning stuff.
Yeah.
I have yet to have one of them come in there and not go, oh, wow. You know, of course, they're not expecting it. First of all, they're not expecting something that in that room like that. But, you know, so, yeah, they like it. But it was the same thing when I was working. You know, I'd get done with the job and go, oh, I could have done better. And the customer comes in and goes, oh, I love it. I love it. You know?
Yeah.
Everybody's a little bit different on how they like stuff. So you're always going to have somebody that doesn't like something you're doing or something you did.
Yeah, but is anybody ever going to tell you, oh, that sucks?
In a passive-aggressive way, maybe.
I don't think they would.
Just take a look at some of the comments you get sometimes in your videos. Sometimes they're hilarious.
Well, yeah, but like that's not to your face.
Well, that's usually where they get a little more brave when they're buying a computer.
Yeah, like
that's as close to your face as you can get. Why didn't you do this?
I've been to open house layouts where people talk about the layout behind the person's back, and it's like,
really?
Well, say it to their face, like I mean, like, or don't come here, like. You got a choice.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that. I mean,
yeah, like, yeah.
Hey, okay. So I just got took down a peg. Roy says he didn't say, "Oh wow, that's awesome."
Got Mark chat. Hey.
No, but he wanted to see it for sure. That
who's in chat?
Marcel. We were talking about.
Marcel, that's Cloverdale.
Okay, Carell, that's Marcel. Hey, I got out for Marcel. I talked to Joe G, and he's interested in being on the show. What about you and Joe being on the show? Could you do that, Marcel? When Joe comes on? Let us know in chat, because I was going to try.
Timing would be probably the issue there, but you know, if they can both be here at the same time.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Reach out to see if we can get both of you guys on, because he's working on his schedule to find out a Saturday that he can do it.
Well, yeah, when we find that out, then we can ask Marcel if he wants to join in that week.
Well, I think him and Joe, don't you and Joe in touch? Okay, says we'll give it a try. Yeah, do you still stay in touch with Joe? Probably get him through Facebook. Anyway, we go back to business.
Business, yeah, like we have any business.
Yeah.
Usually we're in everybody else's business.
Okay, you and Joe do still talk. Okay, well, why don't you guys work together and come up with a Saturday? You guys can come on and talk about it. What you guys are doing.
Excuse me,
Dennis. What's up? What have you been doing?
Yeah, show something you've been doing.
I have got some things I could probably show if you guys are interested. I
mean, we got 10 minutes.
It's not a lot.
It's okay. We don't need a lot.
Yeah, we're pretty easy.
My ugly mug out of here, and we'll go.
That ain't making a magazine.
Yeah.
Now, see, I'm going to mirror.
I like that solder.
There we go.
You're on the big screen. Oh, I like the conductor hat.
It's
Yeah, nice.
I am not Michael
He froze up.
McCarville. I'm
Oh, there you
sorry. I cannot keep my my workspace clean like Michael does. I think there's something wrong with him. Just a personal.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Mike.
I think there is too, but you know, I can't keep mine clean either. Oh, he's got a pointer.
Yeah. So really, all I've done in the last couple 3 weeks is work on these two structures, which I can't remember if I've showed these or not.
They're
But,
keepers.
They're fairly well complete. There's still some details I can do to them that I'm not going to mess with for now. And then these two structures, which they're, if you didn't watch the build series on these, then these are patterned after Forks Creek, which was on the Colorado and Southern. Is that right? And then, of course, the big thing that I've done, I guess, is I've gone in and I've tried to kind of recreate what I think the mountain is going to look like. And right now, I think it's too tall still. I think there's probably, I don't know, between 2 and 4 inches it could come down. But I intentionally want everything to be, if anything, too high, because it's easier to, cut things down than it is to build things up. So
I was going to say it looks too short.
you think?
I don't know, but I don't know what it looks like. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do. Are you trying to?
Well, I'm just the big thing with the ridge line is how difficult is it going to be to make it believable? Because there's a certain amount of slope that has to come down from a mountain unless you want sheer cliff.
Yeah.
And I don't want sheer cliff everywhere. I'm going to have some sheer cliff here. That's obvious because there's only about 6 inches between the backside of these buildings and, well, there's more than 6 inches, but there's not much, like maybe 10 or 12 at the most.
That's going to be like a photo backdrop or painted?
No, that's just it. I want it to be all 3D.
Oh man, like that.
This is what I'm looking at.
Holy cow!
So, you can. There's just a certain.
Yeah, it's cool.
Certain angle that things have to be.
Yeah. You don't want to make it too hard
in order.
That's cool
to work.
Yeah, no, I get you.
So this is just another mock-up to kind of see if I can pile in Walmart bags in here or something that will represent the slope of the mountain. That's kind of the next step after I get all of this completed. I'm hyper focused on getting this completed because once the street is completed here, I'm going to try and keep from moving around, but once the street is completed here, I can set that. And then everything else in this town is kind of geared off of this particular row of buildings. So once that's set in place, everything else should start falling a little quicker.
Yeah.
That's really all I've done.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, Nathan DeLay wants to know if you're going to have any galloping geese on your lab.
I've never been a big fan of the geese for whatever reason. I would rather have something unique to the Otter Creek and Rio Grande, like maybe a passenger car type goose. I don't think I will get a galloping goose, but I would like to have some kind of rail car that would represent the Otter Creek and Rio Grande as the freelance railroad that it is. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but that's way off in the future.
Yeah.
But I plan on kind of getting started on this area back in here, maybe this weekend. I haven't decided. I need to, because this right here, that's just there so that I can turn around. This is not actually what will be. that I'm thinking about going ahead and getting started on the spline that's going around the corner. I'm thinking I'm ready to start doing that. And then, as I mentioned earlier in the green room, things have changed again with my work situation, and I now will be home every night
Oh, really?
unless
That's
something
nice.
else tragic happens.
Oh,
I
I'm
can
So I
now
want to ask
log
Gail
over
what
if needed.
she thinks about that.
just going to say that. I'll bet Gail's just
Well,
I bet she's going, oh, great. Well, you're done already. Well, okay. We got 5 minutes left. I'll run out and show mine.
yeah, there's not much else to show.
Okay. Let me get this camera
Because
turned
really,
around.
all I've been doing is scratch building, and that's a slow process for me.
Steve, are you done? You going to winterize the locomotive?
Oh, yeah, actually, I probably should. I haven't done that yet. It hasn't been cold enough.
But I mean, that's something you're done, right? You're not going back out, right?
Well, yeah, I don't. So I'm gonna try, but just things haven't worked out to do that. So I don't think I'm gonna get out anymore this year. But yeah, I probably should blow it up.
Gail says she's ready for you to be home. You know what that means?
Uh,
She's probably got work for you to do.
I mean, she's got work for me to do. That's exactly what it means.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
And let me tell you what, let me flip this around so it's facing the light and look a little bit better. This is the backside. So you can see I have nothing bolt detail on it. But let me flip this around. Hang on a second.
I didn't know you had this in your garage.
It's my workshop. I come in from the garage, so. And we did that on purpose. This was actually in the original house plan supposed to be the mother-in-law suite. Okay. So here's the main unloading. Here, I can take the roof off and you can kind of see the detail. All that detail comes with the kit, except for the people.
Yeah, that's a lot of detail, man.
Sweet.
Got the little water hose there. Got your fire buckets. But you can see all the bolt castings, all the rust spots are all bolt castings.
Yeah, that's a lot of detail work. That took a long time to build.
It didn't take all that long, actually. It's pretty straightforward. But see, as you can see, these are, and I can't get around that way. You can see the shape of this. And I don't know if these were filled with dirt, rocks or whatever. But if they were, that's why they would have run those bolts through, those rods through, and then bolted them on each side to help hold it all together.
Did the HO scale miniatures, the people, did they come with the kit too?
No, the people did not. That's
where did you come up with those guys at?
I'm sorry?
Where did you come up with those guys at? I don't recognize them.
Oh, just on eBay. Some of them are metal cast, some of them are plastic. I think most of the ones on here are all pewter. I'm not showing this right. I'm looking at the model, but not looking at the screen. Most of the characters on here, the people on here, are the pewter cast that I got from a guy who was selling it up in Kansas. And I got a bunch of animals, cows and stuff for the feed lot. A lot of people. Because they were different poses than what you get with, say, Woodland Scenics. But that's that kit. And it's, like I say, it's a really nice kit. The rail doesn't come with it. You got to add the rail. And, of course, it's an HO kit, so it's made for HO size trains to go on, but mine's narrow gauge, so it's a little narrower. But roof detail, it's all stick built. And then the shingles came out nice. And I'll do some more stuff to them, maybe put a hole in the roof and stuff like that, add some pigeons and all that mess. But
what color did you use to stain the wood?
All of this is the creosote color that I use on most everything. You know, I use the brown and the
Is that the
sienna,
Hunter line?
but this is the creosote, black creosote color. I like it. I think it gives the best weathered wood look without much work. And then, of course, the track up here, it's got a little more paint and stuff on around the rails. And I'm not even sure if I'm done doing that. I may change that around too. But anyway, that's that. And we should be getting close to.
Yep, it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah, should be getting close to getting off of here. Let me get back to the computer and we can.
Yeah, that is the Hunter line creosote, correct?
Yes. There we go. Back on me.
Well, that looks.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Sorry about the camera angles on that. I wasn't prepared to really go out there and do that. But.
Well, enjoy the show.
Okay, let's see here. That over. Well, yes, it is 8 o'clock. Thank you guys for being here. As
See everybody.
Dennis and Steve and Dave. We'll try again next week, Dave.
Yeah.
To get you on. Hopefully Bill will be back too. But everybody in chat, have a good rest of your weekend and a good week, and we'll see you next week.
See everybody.
Bye.
Take care.